Good morning, students. So, today we'll continue with the inheritance extending classes. So, today I'll discuss about single inheritance and single inheritance. That particular program we have already seen one such example, that is in the factorial one, factorial program. Okay, so we have seen another example, that is this where we get the hierarchical inheritance. Okay, and I've already explained this visibility modes, so a detailed explanation is given here. Okay, just go through these two page. Okay, so you get more understanding about the visibility modes for private, okay, uh, public and protected. So coming back to the single inheritance. Okay, a derived class with only one base class is called single inheritance. So uh, you have only one base class. Okay, and you have a derived class. So that is the most common type of inheritance. Okay, that is single inheritance. So you have only one derived class which is inherited from the one base class only. Okay, so let's move on to an example. So in this example given below, use for single inheritance to employ class with the address part and calculation part. So here we have a class that is base emp. Okay, with the following details: the members. Okay, so these members and the member functions and the execution of the function body, okay, is quite similar to the programs that you have seen in classes and objects and constructors and destructors. Okay, so you won't face much problem understanding this program logic. Okay, so here you have the base class by the name of base emb. Okay, so yes, base class is also called a super class. Okay, or it is also called as parent. And then the derived class is also called as child, or it is also called as subclass. Okay, so here the base class has private data members. So it has three data members, that is int emb code, character emb name, okay, of size 25, character emb designation of the size 15. So these three data members are private, so in no way the derived class can inherit these data members. Okay, since it is declared as private. Okay, even if the derived class has been made public, it cannot inherit these three data members. But the member functions is public, so it can inherit, or the derived class can make use of these two member functions, that is void input data and void display. Okay, so uh, now this is your normal class declaration. Okay, so here you have your base class, and this is your derived class. So in the derived class, it is written here, class derived emb. Okay, derived emb colon public base emb. I have already told you that the colon signifies that this denotes that the derived class inherits from the base class. So this is your derived class definition. Okay, under this opening and closing brackets, okay, braces. So here you can see that the derived class has its own data members, that is double, salary and gross, okay, and float, da and hra, that is journals allowance and house rent allowance. Okay, so here the data members are declared, but it is not declared, these data members are not declared under the base class, because these data members which belongs to the derived class is to be executed within the derived class function body only. That is why it is declared here. That means these data members, okay, will be executed by these public member functions. That is, you have void input salary, double calculate da, double calculate hra, okay, double calculate gross, and void print salary. Okay, so these are the member functions of the derived class. And here, since the base class has been inherited as public, okay, so which means that, okay, the member functions can be accessible is inherited, can be inherited by the derived EMP, but not the private data members. If this was public, okay, then since the base class has been uh, derived as public, okay, then if this public, then the data members can also be inherited. But since it is private, so it cannot be inherited. So now we come back to the main function. So in the main function, you see that the the derived class has declared an object EMB. Now keep in mind that mostly the objects will be derived through the objects will be declared through the derived class only. Okay, and you know that as soon as an object gets declared, the constructor gets invoked automatically. Okay, we have seen that detail in the previous video. You can have a look at that. Okay, so here the object is being declared. After that, emb.input salary, so the object is accessing or invoking this function, that is input salary. Okay, so it is calling this salary to, okay, using dot operator. So emb dot input salary, so this function input salary is called. So it goes in search, and then yes, this, it executes this function body. Okay, so this member function, okay, it belongs to the derived class. Okay, so that is why this scope resolution operator is used. Okay, so that it shows that this member function belongs to the derived class, that is derived emp. Okay, and the return type is void because this function, okay, does not return any value to the main function. Okay, so now within this function body, okay, you can see that in the first line statement contains input underscore data. This is the calling function. Okay, now this function actually belongs to the base class. Okay, so uh, so since this function has been made public in the base class, right, that's why the derived class can inherit this member function input underscore data. Okay, so always remember that the members of the base class will be inherited or accessed inside the function body only. Okay, so this is calling this member function to to invoking. Okay, so now from here it goes in search and comes to here. Okay, so this member function, since it belong to the base class, is signified by this scope resolution operator, and under this, okay, you have the following line statements. Cout, enter the employee code. Okay, so since employee code is integer, okay, so that's why directly from the cin operator, okay, you're able to enter the values. Okay, then cout, enter the employee name. Okay, since employee name and employee designation are both of character type, okay, so that's why you use the gets function. Okay, we have already discussed about the gets function also. Okay, so after executing this statement, okay, then after it reaches the closing braces, okay, the control comes back to the next line statement, that is cout, enter salary. Okay, so from here the salary is entered. So this details belongs to the derived class data members. Okay, so now here again you can see that da is equal to calculate da. So now this is again the calling function. So this function, it calls this function body to be executed. Okay, and it returns this double value 1.20 into salary, okay, back, and then stores it in this variable da. Okay, so similarly here also hra is equal to calculate hra, right? So this function calls this function body to be executed, and it returns the value of type double, and then it stores in this variable hra. Okay, so similarly gross is also done the same way. Okay, that's why here in the calling function, okay, the variables has been assigned. Okay, since this three function bodies is returning the value back to the calling function, okay, since the call function is returning value back to calling function, okay, so the calling function, instead of the calling function, the value will be written here. So that value has to be stored somewhere, that data has to be stored somewhere. That's why using the assignment operator, we are assigning to these variables DA, HRA, and gross. Okay, then after that we come back to the next line statement, see out, and here's the employee's information. Okay, so the for loop gets executed, the equal to gets printed out 32 times. Okay, and then emb dot print salary. So now this also belongs to the derived class, this member function also belongs to derived class, and the object invokes this member function, and then it calls this member function to be executed. So this function body gets executed. Here also another member function which belongs to the base class gets invoked. Okay, so display, so it comes here and this statement gets executed. So it displays the employee code, employee name, employee designation, so you get the full employee details. So since this was private, right, the derived class could no way access these data members, right, but using the member function display, okay, it we could get the details of these private data members, that is the employee code, employee name, and employee designation. Okay, so the under the derived class member function print salary, that public member function was written. So it called, okay, and then displayed the uh, values. Okay, then similarly you have the other CL statement, that is the salary, DA, HRA, and gross. Okay, so this way, using single inheritance, okay, one base class and one derived class, okay, you are able to execute these program statements. Okay, so have a look at this program, try to understand this very nicely. Okay, this is one of the simplest in the inheritance uh, chapter. Okay, so single inheritance is the easiest to understand. Okay, you since you have, so try to understand this program, and then if you have any doubts, okay, you can ask, okay, you can message me, and then yes, and then not only that, you try to search tutorials links and search other videos, learn from that. Okay, and then yes, so today we'll stop here.